The storm outside had intensified. Thunder cracked so close it shook the glass, and the floorboards beneath trembled. The once locked east wing door now creaked open by itself, revealing a dust-choked corridor that hadn't been touched in decades. The air turned colder, and every breath formed visible fog. Drawn by some compulsion, a man stepped inside. The walls were lined with murals, faint, faded paintings of people dining together. But as he moved, the faces in the paintings subtly shifted, now twisted in agony, mouths agape like they were screaming behind a frozen veil dot at the end of the hall. Stood a dining room, pristine and untouched, a large table set for 7. Each plate had a name scrawled in cursive with dried blood. One of the plates bore his name. He stepped forward. Chairs slid out on their own. A low whisper echoed around the room, unintelligible at first, but growing clearer with each word. "Sit, eat, join us." The chandelier above began to swing slowly, and one by one the chairs filled with translucent silhouettes. Each was a former guest, their faces warped by death, eyes sunken, lips torn. They turned toward him, mouths moving in unison. "You were always meant to stay." He backed away, but the door slammed shut behind him. The smell of decaying flesh filled the air. On his plate, fresh meat now steamed, but it bled when pierced. He screamed, flinging the dish to the ground, only for it to reappear again, untouched. Desperate to escape, he noticed a hatch under the table. He yanked it open and descended into darkness. The walls of the tunnel below were made of bone, skulls etched with claw marks. Faint wails drifted up through the corridors, as if the villa's victims were still alive, trapped in some half-realm. Crawling further, he came across cells' tiny chambers, carved from stone, and filled with antique belongings. Shoes, lockets, faded clothes. Evidence of those who vanished into the villa and were never seen again. He stumbled upon a mirror, tall and cracked, standing alone in the dark. It reflected him, but behind him stood a woman in black, head tilted, expression blank. He turned. No one there. The tunnel led into a vast underground chamber, an ossuary lit by hundreds of melting candles. In the center, the ground pulsed like a living organ. From it rose a cloaked figure, tall and faceless, wearing a mask shaped like a porcelain doll's. Face down, this was the keeper. The figure raised its arm, and the candles flickered violently. The bones began to rattle, levitating in the air, forming walls that blocked all exits. "You disturbed the balance," it said in a hollow voice. "Now feed the house." The man collapsed to his knees as tendrils of black mist crawled from the walls and coiled around his limbs, dragging him toward the pulsing heart of the house. Above ground, the storm cleared. Morning sunlight spilled over the villa's facade, now looking entirely restored, windows clean, ivy trimmed, doors open wide. Tourists arrived, snapping pictures of the ancient beauty. But if one listened closely, beneath the creaking wood and bird calls were faint echoes of screams. Inside, the dining room sat ready again, plates set, the chandelier still swinging. A new name had been etched into a plate. The cycle was complete. The house had fed. The house had won, and it waited again.